Hi, so where you been? I've had to finish Spartacus all by myself, put all the new motors and finish everything off, and yeah, she's up and running. As you can see, yeah, everything's all hunky-dory. So it's, how does it perform? Honestly, crap. It's absolute crap. Well, not absolutely crap. I've got a new set of Spartacus plates sat here. That's for the Y and for the X. Not the Z, just for the Y and the X. But why? Why have I got these? Take a little look at this clip of my Y-axis when it's cutting a job. So, how has these Y-axis ones got bent? They're both the same, either side, they're both the same, and the X is going like it too. Now, if you remember in one of the videos, I had some big 4 Newton meter motors. That was a mouthful. And I decided they were too big, and I thought I'd try some of the close loop steppers out. Now, them close loop steppers that are on here at the moment, absolutely fantastic. I've really pushed the machine, and if I was asking for 40mm cube, then I'd get a 40mm cube, and it's dialed in, the steps and everything absolutely perfect, and never had a problem. But it's too much for these 8mm screws, how they're set up, screws, Acme screws, yeah, whatever. It's too much for them how they're set with the collets or clips, as you call them, that are sat in the front here, these parts here. On the inside, it's too much for them. Now, if this head was to come up against something and it was too much that it couldn't move anymore, well, these motors are still that strong, they would carry on turning, and let's say if it was coming forward, now the motor would still be turning, it wouldn't stall out. So because of the Acme blocks, it would start still feeding the screw through there. Of course, there's nothing to stop the screw from being pulled across. So I have seen a video somewhere where they've actually put the blocks on the outside to stop it from being pulled in and doing that. That's a very good idea. I mean, I should have done that in the first place, but I've actually gone down the different lines of how I'm going to strengthen it up. I've been doing some testing, and I even bought a new C-beam just to test this theory out, and they've started doing it in anodized black now, so you can guess what I'm thinking. So I started having a little test, and 10mm, I can get the motors to trip out using 10mm Acme. I can't get them to trip out using the 8mm, but if I put 10mm on there and give it some force, it will trip the motors out without bending a 10mm screw. Now, looking at the other lines of it, is one of these 8mm lead screws are 30 quid, so that's 60 quid. you know, between them two, 90 quid with the X. So every time I make a boo-boo and this crashes at the front or a bit gets stuck in there, it's going to cost me 90 quid. So that's why I've gone for actually 10 mil. And I've of course had to make some new brackets, new X, new Y, to, you know, compensate for this new bearing. Nice bearing, 19 mil on the outside and 10 mil on the inside. Will go in there eventually. I've got these so precisely cut, if you don't put them in straight, perfectly straight I should say, then they're not going in. There you go, that's better. So nice. That's a 19 mil outside and 10 mil inside. Now lead screw 10 mil, and it just it really does slide in there absolutely beautiful. There's no wobble, there's no play, there's nothing there at all. It's absolutely great. So I've gone for 10 mil, and the 10 mil plates obviously going to sit in here. As you can see, the front's higher because I bought a big chunk of 10 mil tooling plate. Tooling plate? What do they call it? I think they call it, not tooling plate. It's aluminium, and it's the right size anyway. So that will sit on the top of the bed here, and it's given me, you know, 10 mil that will run down there. And you know, it's not just the 8 mil lead screw that pushed me this way, it's the fact that the bottom here, the eccentrics are now loose, very loose, and I can tighten them up, but to tighten them up I've got to loosen all the top screws and try and lift it up. I made a bit of a boob when I was in the process of anodizing these. As you know, I sink all the M5s down, and after cutting these, I checked by putting a screw in the top, but some of the screws I have are actually smaller on the top. They're not 9 mil, they're probably 8.8 or something like that. So the screws I was testing them with was absolutely fine. But then when I came across some other screws that I bought for the machine, they actually wouldn't fit in the holes. I thought, well, I can't cut some more plates. So I bought one of these. This is counterbore, M5 counterbore, which looks like this, and it's got a pilot on the end, and then it will bore the counterbore for the M5 screw, which was absolutely great. Done them all, and as you've seen in the video, followed up with anodizing them. I fitted the machine together, and you know, I was happy with it, apart from the fact that when the screws were in, because they'd been counterbored, that hole was now bigger. The M5 hole was bigger. It was like putting it in one of these eccentric holes. A hell of a lot of play like this, you know, it could lift up and down. So I got them tightened up on the machine, but because of all the factors of the vibrations coming from the lead screws, a bit of chatter from the workpiece because I hadn't got the bed properly then, so a couple of sheets of MDF does cause a bit of chatter on it, actually moved those top wheels up, which then loosened all the eccentrics at the bottom, and when they come loose you get a hell of a lot more chatter on the head because it's not solid. And you know, it's all things like that. Going up to 10mm lead screw, obviously the 8mm one it's also got an 8mm lead on it, so for every turn it's going to go 8mm. Now the 10mm stuff I've got, I couldn't find any in 8mm, which didn't really bother me. This is a 4mm lead, so you know it's probably half the speed, but you know I can always push the speed up on Mach 4. But I'm more into precision cutting than the speed that I can do with it. I got plenty of time in the world when I just put something and leave it running. I mean, one of them Y plates, believe it or not, was 3 hours because I'd actually done a roughing pass on it. So instead of just doing 1 3mm cut all the way round and getting loads of chatter on the end that I've got to clean up with a bit of emery cloth or something, I done 2, so it'd do a roughing pass all the way round, and on each step it was depth of cut. It was then going in and cutting the inside, so it's left me with an absolute beautiful edge. But that 3 hours was nothing to me. I go off and do something else. Now, like I say, with a 10mm, the problem I got was finding some 10mm Acme nuts. You know, they're just, I just couldn't find any the size I wanted. Now the Acme blocks are 16mm. I did find some that are 13, but that gives me 1.5mm either side of the bar itself. So I've made my own, and you know I didn't realise just how simple they are to make. It is still made out of dowring, but trying to find 16mm dowring was a pain in the butt, because when you get it, it's more 17mm, which obviously 1mm pulling in on the Acme when you've got it on your axis is no good. But I've got a video coming out to show you how I made all these Acme blocks as well. Now, with me saying that that's 90 quid to change all these Acmes, well, for 3 lengths of this 10mm, and they even come with a certificate to say they've been tested, is, I think it was something like 25 quid, including delivery. You know, do the maths. So, you know, my motors are going to trip, well, the drivers for the motors are going to trip if they get under tension, and you know this won't flex like the 8mm. Am I babbling a little bit now? But I'm just trying to give you an update where I am. Now, I've got a new project coming up, a little bit of a bigger project. That's what this box is sat here outside my house for, and I might even open it one day. Now, Spartacus is getting stripped down today. These are going in to get anodized, and doing the anodizing a little bit different, and they're actually going in battery acid, not that stuff. What did I use? It was some stuff for a swimming pool, pH down, that was it. Look at this. It is, I saved it, the stuff I had for the y-axis, I saved it, and you know, thought, you know, I might be able to use it again. Well, look at this. So, as you can see, it's, unless I sit there with a hammer and crush all that lot back down to mix it, it's not reusable. So I found a place where I could get a 25 litre drum of battery acid, which should last me quite a while, because the biggest thing I've anodized are these Y plates, and the bucket they go in does actually use 25 litres to cover them. All the other stuff that I normally do don't need to be that big at all. Talking of size, if you have a look on here, I've got a bit of MDF. Now that piece of MDF is the biggest size that I've been cutting, and worked out what I do, the things I do, and some of the projects that I've got coming up. That's the biggest I need the machine. So I'm actually going to make this smaller. I mean, the footprint of it at the minute is 1 metre by 1 metre, and I only actually need 600 by 600. So all of, if I stick this over there, so that's the edge of that piece of MDF. So everything behind here I don't need, and exactly the same the other side. So I'm going to make this even smaller. Hopefully by making it smaller as well, it will give these X-axis beams a bit more strength as well. Well, it's just an update really, let you know where I am. So I got a weekend off, it's Saturday morning, and hopefully by the end of the weekend these plates will all be nice black. Another thing with the anodizing as well, I'm not sealing them by boiling them either. I've actually bought some commercial anodized seal, which you just mix in a bucket of warm water, you dip these in for about 1/4 of an hour, then you leave them for 24 hours to dry on their own, and they're sealed that way. The steam that I had come in from the little outhouse, it actually stripped the wallpaper off. You know, it was like a sauna in there using that tray and sealing them. And if you can imagine, sort of like it was steam like that solid for something like, if you had it up, about 10 hours. So the wallpaper just started falling off, so I've had to try and stick all the wallpaper back on as well. So that's about it for this video. It's just an update for you. I'll get this all stripped down. I've got to cut all the C-beams down again and square the end off, and then it's coming out of this corner. I've had the ox sat in this corner and this sat in this corner, and it's been just over 4 years now there's been a machine sat in this corner, but it's moving. It's going over there somewhere because I need this corner for next project. So I'll get this stripped down, get it over there, then we can give it another quick review of what's on it, like, you know, the air hose, limit switches, it's got a water feed, the actual control box for it is all done. That is sat over there, that's the VFD sat in the top so I can see it obviously when we're milling, and yeah, that's about it. So until, have I shrunk? So until next time, I'll see you again.